They snatched Famous and a bag with the money in it.
What? Don't look at me for no assist.
This might be just what you need.
So, as we move past the halfway point of Season 2, it's clear which direction we're going in, whether it comes to the personal life of our characters or the street game. But there are stories which are up in the air, and we know how Power love to throw as a curveball, so there's definitely going to be a bit more twists and turns as we move into the back end of the season. Some more chaos, and I expect there to be a lot more death, because there is certainly a lot more tension across the board. We've got Famous, who's going to be picked up by the police, something which I expected, and I'm going to run through a few theories surrounding Famous in just a moment. But Kanan's going to find himself in a hell of a lot of trouble, but where he takes matters into his own hands. Now, we also know where Lou's head is, and it's not in the game, but will Raq try one more time to bring the family together? Now, on the side of the street game, we've got Raq looking to cash in on her favor with Unique, especially because he's got ties to the Italians. So, could this be Unique's way back in the game? Either way, Raq can't trust him, because he's going to be out to get back what's his. But we're going to run through all things episode 6 and match up some of the remainder images from the official trailer. So with that being said, episode 6 is titled It's a Businessman, and the synopsis reads, Raq assures everybody they need to follow orders and keep working as planned. Kanan takes on more responsibility, but things go awry when he runs into neighborhood kids. Lou feels the pressure in his partnership with Crown. Now, we're going to get to parts of the synopsis later on this week, but let's start with where I think is one of the main talking points from this trailer, Famous being arrested. Now, it was in episode 3 where Kanan and Famous started flipping his mixtapes with Raq's product inside, and the crackheads leaving a hell of a lot of evidence on the street, which only points back to Famous. Now, Raq is someone who built a sophisticated business in the projects where they don't need to be on the streets, but this is the consequence to one of Kanan's actions of not only trying to help Famous, but stealing from his family. Now, the reason why this could be huge when it comes to the broader perspective is because 1. Famous ain't built for the game, and 2. Detective Beck will have a field day with Famous at the precinct.
Looks like you Lolo.
Famous ain't built for this shit anyway. This is the shit D Wiz was always down for.
No doubt.
So where we've established Famous ain't built for the streets, and Detective Beck being the one who's sticking her nose into every single thing, I think we're gonna see Beck coming down hard on Famous, and Willie Crack and Wes snitch. So let's think about what Famous knows. Now, he was the one who wrote Streets Need a Body, which is a direct reference to the stash house being robbed, as well as the death of Buck 20. Now, if Detective Beck starts to connect some dots, which I think she is, I think we could see Famous talk. Now, Beck has been warned by her father, as well as Howard, leave this shit alone, but I think she's gonna use Famous being arrested as an opportunity to get closer to the truth. She was someone who seemed like she had a revelation when Andrea mentioned Howard had a son, so I think she knows it's Kanan, especially after she saw Kanan's folder on Howard's desk at home in episode 1. But in terms of Famous, it does make me wonder if he'll end up being a death in season 2, because we all know snitches need to go in the world of Power. And it's also not a coincidence, Famous's real name is Sean, which also happens to be Kanan's son's name in the original Power. So something would have happened to Famous, which would have had such a deep impact on Kanan, to the point where he names his son after his best friend from childhood. So that's something to bear in mind, and why we could see Famous in trouble in the second half, not just in terms of law enforcement. Now, Kanan will reach out to Marvin for help, but he turns him down. Maybe if this was season 1, Marvin would have helped Kanan, but he's learned from his past mistakes. Don't get involved with Kanan, at least not without telling Raq. So Kanan's not only on his own with this one, but also with the bag that was snatched by some kids from the neighborhood. Raq made a point of how he's the heir to her throne in episode 5, and the reason why she's bringing Kanan on board is so she can keep him away from Howard. But we're gonna see him run into a bit of trouble with the boys snatching his bag, and if Marvin's not gonna help him, he's gonna reach out to someone who can. Palomar and Corinne were moving real suspect in episode 4, and they'll be back, with Palomar giving Kanan a piece. Now, there aren't many scenes left to connect the dots from the original trailer, but this is one of them. The same guy who stole Kanan's bag is gonna get beat the fuck up. And even though Kanan's someone who's still maturing, he's strong, and he's gonna have to be, because in the original Power, Kanan was a real powerhouse. So just looking at his fight with Dominic in episode 5, even though it ended up with Dominic getting the better of Kanan, he's not afraid to throw his hands, and we're gonna see Kanan getting his hands dirty in episode 6. So just like Raq once told Lou, there's always problems in this game, but it's about finding the solutions, not giving up. And that's what I can take away from Kanan's mindset from this trailer, because he won't get no help from Marvin this time. But let's move away from Kanan and talk all things Raq and Lou. Now, we hear Raq questioning whether Lou missed Worrell on purpose the night in season 1, with Lou responding with how he doesn't want to do that type of work anymore. So let's just revisit this scene from season 1.
I never miss. Tech Nines ain't shit.
Maybe you should have used a different guy. Maybe you weren't so busy trying to be a bootleg Russell fucking Simmons, your aim would have been better.
Lou was tasked with killing Worrell in retaliation for what they did to Scrap, but instead of using a Glock, he used a Tech 9, which is shit when it comes to aiming. Now, I'm not sure whether Lou actually missed on purpose, because we all saw how his gun jammed, but he definitely dropped the ball with using a Tech 9. But it also clearly showed where Lou's head was in season 1, and that wasn't in the game. But I don't think Raq will accept Lou wanting to leave. She made it clear over and over again, he ain't leaving. And the way she's trapped him in the game is by pumping money into the record label. And now so when she calls, he needs to answer. But something's gonna have to give. But I don't think it's gonna get to a point where I think Lou will turn on Raq or betray her. I think we're more likely to see him walk away and not answer Raq's calls. We've already seen him do it twice, but only next time it may have a deadly consequence. But on the flip side, I think we can all see as the audience, she needs to listen to him a bit more. He was never down with the idea of expanding into Jersey, and neither was Marvin. He wanted Raq to slow down, but that's Raq's problem. She doesn't listen to anyone, and that's what she told Jimmy in episode 5.
I hear fine. I just don't always listen.
But one thing we're gonna see Raq doing in episode 6 is reaching out to Unique, because she's heard he's got ties to the Italians, and with how she did him a favor in episode 3, she's back for hers, because these Italians are gonna keep on coming back. I also made reference to how you're better off working together than against, especially in this line of work, and it seemed like Raq's coming around to that idea of working together, but only when it benefits her, that is. But even if Unique does help, he's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart, and he's definitely not gonna play all his cards. He's definitely got a diamond up his sleeve, so Unique along with Worrell need to be kept close. Now elsewhere, we are seeing some happiness back in Duke's life after a bit of a rough patch, but how long will it last? Especially with her music career taking a bit of a turn, and a bit of tension with Lou, so that's something to bear in mind for episode 6. But that's a breakdown of episode 6 trailer, and where hopefully the action starts to pick up a bit more after a few fillers. So drop all your thoughts down below on all things episode 6, and of course if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.